Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
Okay, the Beatles box just showed up, so I'm going to open it in front of you and not even take the time to put some good lighting on me, because it's more important to get this thing up there and annoy the trolls. All right, so we're going to open the box. This is the Beatles in mono box. Hey man, use a razor blade. What's the matter with you? I'm not using a razor blade. Okay, I'm just getting it open. Okay, it's a nice and heavy box. This is the Beatles 1964 album. So keep that in mind. It only covers 1 year. Therefore, if it's successful, we will have another box every year until 1968 in mono. Yeah, 68. Although the Beatles, the White Album, didn't come out in mono in America, that to the best of my knowledge. And if it did, I don't know about it. All right, so here's the box. It's got a nice slip case. And here it is. All right, let's see now. I dropped it because what else can I do? All right, so first of all, we see the reproduction of the jacket is absolutely beautiful. We like that. And let's see if it does have the rainbow label inside. Let's see what it's got. Yeah, look, it's got a rainbow label. Now, you know, if you ask Bruce Spicer, who wrote notes about this, there's like 20 different variations, or maybe I'm undercounting it. There's a large number of variations in the original label. So I'm assuming, since Bruce was involved in this, that it will be the correct original version. So we get the first Beatles album, and it looks very nicely done. The reproduction is beautiful. And let's take the next record out. Here's the Beatles' second album, which is at Roll Over Beethoven, Thank You Girl, You Really Get a Hold of Me, Devil in Her Heart. A lot of songs that were not on the British Beatle albums, if you remember. Do you remember? Are you old enough? Okay. Then comes the anomaly in the whole package, and that was A Hard Day's Night, which was on United Artists Records. And they give you the actual jacket with the United Artists label. And did they give you I'll Cry Instead? So it's got I'll Cry Instead instead of I Cry Instead, because some of the copies came through with I Cry Instead, if you know. And then you also get instrumentals on this record. So the stereo version of this record was pretty miserable. The United Artists stereo record, very miserable. Interestingly, I was a projectionist, not an exhibitionist, a projectionist at a summer camp in 1964, and we got a screening of A Hard Day's Night before it opened, because the people who owned the summer camp that I went to owned all the Brandt theaters in New York City, all the ones that were in Times Square. So I was the projectionist. I got to show this movie, and I had a tape recorder. So I tape recorded the whole soundtrack. I mean, all the dialogue, and I kind of memorized, and I used to walk around saying, "Hey, who's that little old man? What little old man? That one. That's my grandfather." "Your grandfather? You don't have a grandfather." "I do." And Ringo says, "He looks very clean." Whatever it was. I had the whole thing memorized. I don't have it memorized anymore. But anyway, there's A Hard Day's Night. Okay, and I don't know your grandfather. Whatever it was. Okay, wait a second. I want to get back in the right place. This is what happens when you do something in haste. But I'm doing it in haste because I want to get a scoop on this. Okay, something new. They used the picture from the set of the Ed Sullivan show, and of course it was in color, and we never saw it in color when it first came out. This has got great songs on it that I'm not going to go over right now because you know what they are, and if you don't know what they are, you'll know when you read the review. It's a nicely packed slipcase. Next, we get the Beatles Story. Okay, this is like the one that's pretty much superfluous. Here's what you'll find. It said, the Beatles live and close-up, packed with details, anecdotes, facts you never knew before and after about them, the authentic personal stories of all four guys, the wonderful wit and humor of the Beatles themselves in off-the-cuff interviews, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, you got it. If you didn't have it before, you have it now. You'll play it once. Maybe you'll play it more times. I don't know. Then you get Beatles 65 with the umbrella shot. Great songs. And of course, the tracks that were in electronic stereo on here that were in real stereo on the British albums. That's the first time that I really got annoyed, when I got a British record and heard all these tracks in real stereo, and here they're in fake stereo. But this is the mono version, so it's fine. Produced in England by George Martin, in the USA with the assistance of Dave Dexter Jr. The assistance should really be in quotes, because we know what he did. Although, the point of this really is that for Americans, for all of us who were around for that period of time, let me just get to the final record in this box. A second. We get the early Beatles, which of course was the VJ stuff, because Capitol at first did not want to release the Beatles. At any rate, I said at any rate, I promise I'd never do that again. The point is that for Americans who didn't even know that there were British Beatle albums that were different, these were the Beatle albums. This is what's imprinted in Americans' DNA from 1964 to, well, certainly in 1964, except for the lucky few who may have gone to the UK and picked up a British Beatle album and seen the covers were different, the song selection was different. There were 14 songs on a record, and they were not nearly as loud as the American ones, and they sounded very different. These American ones had a certain sound that, for those of us who grew up with them, that is the early Beatle records. Maybe we like the British ones better now, but this is an opportunity in this box set to give all of us who don't have the original American mono records, which I do, a taste of what this was in mono. So I'm going to listen to them now, and I will report back on what I hear and give you an honest assessment. And I can say if the sound is as good as the packaging, it's going to be a blast. It'll really, really be great. And there's a lot to be said about the early records in mono, because they weren't really meant to be stereo. They were, whatever they did in 2 tracks was meant to be folded down to mono and not left as 2 separate tracks with the Beatles singing in one channel and they're playing in the other channel. Okay, so that's the opening salvo of the Beatles box. I'm going to get it right on my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch this. Okay.